You ever have one of those moments where you think, okay, the universe finally smiled at me? For me, it was the day I surprised my wife with a custom pink Porsche 911 in our driveway, and I swear to you, for about 8 days, I actually believed happiness could just stick around. Silly, right? Because in an HOA neighborhood, peace is like a coupon with an expiration date nobody tells you about. 8 days. That's all I got before a walking entitlement parade, otherwise known as the neighborhood HOA. Karen and her tantrum-throwing daughter stomped up my driveway, pointed at my wife's brand-new dream car, and actually screamed, "I want it for free!" Yeah, that happened. At first I laughed, thought maybe I was on a prank show or they'd mixed up their meds. But it was real. That's the day a war kicked off, not just over a car, but over who gets to feel at home and who gets to pull the strings in the shadows. And folks, by the end, even the police and a judge got dragged in kicking and screaming. Let me back up a sec before the fireworks, before the neighborhood turned into an episode of Real Housewives meets Law and Order. My name's Darius Palmer. I grew up over my mom's old sewing shop, learned early that hard work doesn't promise you anything, but laziness guarantees nothing. I put myself through school, started a little tech consulting company out of a dorm room, and spent a decade grinding through 80-hour weeks till I could finally breathe. My wife Amara, though, she's the real rock star. Pediatric surgeon, survivor of med school residency, and a childhood where nobody handed us a thing. We climbed. So when we bought our house in Oakage, not some McMansion, just a real home in a nice, mostly quiet Atlanta suburb, it felt like we'd earned it. 5 years of peace, decent neighbors, backyard cookouts, Sunday coffee on the porch, all of it. Then came the Porsche. You want to talk about love? Amara had been obsessed with one car since college. Not just any Porsche, this ballet slipper pink 911 she once saw in a magazine. We always joked about it. Maybe one day, she'd say, half dreaming, half resigned. But I wanted that day for her. So for 3 years, I pinched every bonus, took side gigs, sold off old gear, all so I could surprise her on our 10th anniversary. Worked with a custom shop in California to get the color just right, coordinated with the dealer, signed more paperwork than when we bought the house. But when she saw that car hair a mess, scrubs still on from a double shift, she just stopped, blinked, then covered her mouth and started sobbing. The happy kind. Our neighbors came out clapping. Somebody yelled, "You two deserve it." And for a little while I believed it. But peace has enemies, and in Oakage they live in the colonial-style house at the end of the street. The Harringtons. Trish, the self-appointed HOA queen, her husband, Gregory the suit with too many committees, and Brittany, their daughter, who wore so much pink she looked like she was sponsored by Pepto-Bismol. There'd always been this undercurrent with them, polite on the surface but cold underneath, like they couldn't quite believe people like us belonged here. But I ignored it until the Porsche. First it was just the stairs, then whispers, then the full Broadway entrance. Trish in her pink blazer, Brittany stomping behind both, marching up like they were serving a warrant. They didn't even say hello. Trish just pointed. "Is that it?" The Porsche, Brittany shoved past her. "That's my color." My wife gave me that look. The one that says, "I do brain surgery for a living. I do not have time for this nonsense." Still, I tried to keep it civil. "Is there something you need?" Brittany jabbed at the car. "I've been telling everyone I'm getting a pink Porsche. Dad promised. You stole my idea." Amara just laughed. "That was the wrong move. You need to give it to me," Brittany snapped. "Today. For free." I honestly didn't know if I was supposed to call security or a psychiatrist. But Trish jumped in. "We're willing to take it off your hands. No payment necessary." My jaw just dropped. "Without payment." "Yeah," Brittany said, "for free." That was her line, and she'd be yelling it a lot. Trish stepped closer, dropped her voice. "Be reasonable. Your people shouldn't be driving a car like this anyway." There it was. I felt that old heat, the one you carry from every time someone ever told you you didn't belong. I kept my voice even. "This car belongs to my wife. It's not for sale." Brittany shrieked. Trish hissed, "You should think about your place in this neighborhood." I pulled out my phone, started recording. That's when Brittany let out a word I hadn't been called since high school, a racial slur, ugly and loud enough for the neighbors to hear. Amara stepped up, trembling. Get off our property. Now! They stormed off, swearing they'd be back. The days after felt like waiting for a tornado. The stairs got colder. Brittany would drive by slow just to glare. Then came the note-blocky black marker stuck under Amara's wiper at work. This car doesn't belong to you. Sell it to its rightful owner or face consequences. That's when I started documenting everything, times, dates, photos, audio. I wanted to believe it'd fizzle out, but deep down I knew better. Friday afternoon I get home and there's Gregory, Mr. Important, standing by a black Mercedes. He tries this let's be men routine like he's negotiating a business deal. He offers me 20% over sticker for the Porsche. Says his daughter has her heart set on that car. When I refuse, he leans in and whispers, I have connections. If you choose to be stubborn, things could become difficult for you and your wife. I ask if he's threatening me. He shrugs. Just reality. We're major donors at your wife's hospital. I know the chief of police wouldn't want your business to run into trouble. I tell him that sounds a lot like blackmail. His smile doesn't even flicker. Amara and I lawyered up that night. She already had a folder of logs from the hospital, weird comments, looks, little things that suddenly made sense. We hoped we'd seen the worst. Nope. Monday morning, Amara walks outside to head to work. 30 seconds later, she's screaming for me. All 4 tires on the Porsche slashed, not just deflated cut. Across the door in thick lipstick pink is Brittany's color. I called the police. The moment I said Harrington, their mood changed. Probably kids, one shrugged. We'll look into it. Amara had to borrow a friend's car to get to surgery. That week was hell insurance calls, client cancellations, anonymous complaints at Amara's hospital, my biggest contract getting paused by the board. The Harringtons were pulling every string. But the worst came next. Thursday morning, the Porsche was still stuck at the body shop every time I called some new excuse. That afternoon, my main client drops me. Board decision, he says, and I don't have to ask which board member. That evening, Amara comes home shaking. They called me in anonymous complaints about my professionalism, about whether I'm a cultural fit. My blood boiled. Whatever line existed between petty HOA drama and full-blown harassment was long gone. We documented everything. Monday morning, everything exploded. I hear a diesel engine outside. 2 guys in jumpsuits, tow truck drivers, say they're here to seize the Porsche. Court order, they say, stamped and signed by Judge Whitfield. I'd never even been served. Never got notice of a hearing. It was an ex parte order, one-sided, no warning. Amara came out still in her robe, ready for battle. You can be charged for participating in an unlawful seizure, she tells them. They start looking nervous. I call our lawyer Raymond, who says, don't let them take it. Just then the Harringtons roll up Trish with her pink folder, Brittany bouncing with excitement. The judge ruled for us. Trish gloats, but Raymond arrives, snatches the paperwork, says, this is highly irregular, beyond irregular. Trish smirks, still enforceable until you overturn it. Amara stands in front of the car, eyes blazing. You picked the wrong family. But we couldn't stop them. We watched as the Porsche was hooked and hauled off, Brittany filming like she'd just won the lottery. But as Raymond said, this gives us everything we need to bury them legally. We turned our dining table into a war room, stacks of evidence logs, emails, videos, everything. Raymond brought in Sophia, a private investigator who dealt with political corruption and judicial misconduct. She tore into the Harringtons' connections, found proof they'd only tried to order a pink Porsche after Amara got hers, and dug up photos of Gregory vacationing with Judge Whitfield. Then came the big one, an email chain between the Harringtons' lawyer and Judge Whitfield discussing the seizure order before any court filing, all illegal back-channel stuff. The house of cards started to wobble. Even Amara's colleague, Dr. Patel, pulled us aside. His wife worked at the Harringtons' law firm, and she'd quietly filed a bar complaint about suspicious documents. Turns out the Harringtons had fabricated their own Porsche order, backdated emails, outright fraud. When we filed our emergency motion, we had enough to take down a small government. The day of the hearing, the whole neighborhood was buzzing. The Harringtons marched in pinker and smugger than ever. Their lawyer looked like he hadn't slept in a week. The new Judge Ramirez cut right through the nonsense, demanded evidence, asked why we'd never been notified. Our lawyer handed over the emails, the statements, the dealership logs, and that was it. The room went silent. Judge Ramirez vacated the order, gave us our car back, and slapped the Harringtons with a restraining order on the spot. She even sent Whitfield's paperwork to the judicial board. I swear I thought Trish was going to faint. When we got to the impound lot, the supervisor personally escorted us to the car, apologizing all the way. Amara touched the hood, tears in her eyes. We drove home waving at neighbors. Mrs. Chen clapped from her porch. "Justice served," she shouted. The Harringtons just sat in their lawn chairs looking like they'd seen a ghost. That wasn't the end. With everything on record, we filed a $1.2 million lawsuit, harassment, defamation, interference with our jobs. The media exploded. Wealthy banker family accused of targeting black couple over pink Porsche. That headline went everywhere. By the time the FBI showed up at the Harringtons' door for an unrelated financial probe, nobody was surprised. Settlement talks started. They tried to lowball us. Raymond just laughed. Eventually, we got $750,000, a public apology printed in the Atlanta paper, and court-ordered community service for Trish and Brittany, plus an admission of racial bias in their statement. Poetic Wright Gregory pled guilty to financial crimes. The house went up for sale. The pink Porsche became a symbol not of status but of resilience. With some of the settlement money, we started a scholarship for minority students in STEM and medicine. Amara mentored the first class herself. My business grew. People trust you when you stand your ground. The HOA rewrote the conduct code, voted for real accountability. Even folks who'd kept their heads down started standing up. One day I ran into Brittany, no pink. Just a plain shirt and name tag, working retail, trying to apologize. I told her, "You can be better than what you came from." I meant it. People can change. But justice means facing the truth first. These days, the neighborhood's quieter, friendlier. Sometimes Amara and I sit on the porch, watch the sunset reflect off that pink Porsche, and just breathe. I think about how the thing someone tries to steal from you can become the very thing that exposes who they really are. The fight you never wanted might be the one that shapes your life if you don't back down. So if you've ever had something taken from you, your peace, your dignity, your right to belong, don't forget this story. You're stronger than you think. Drop a comment below. Tell me where you're watching from, or share your wildest battle for justice. Because at the end of the day, standing up matters. And sometimes winning isn't just about getting your car back, it's about changing what everyone expects from the place you call home.